if we were to observe the media and how it's behaving of late, especially because the world has had such crises, the COVID-19 pandemic and now the truckers' protest and the Ukraine crisis is going on, you see that a new propaganda machinery is being sprouted all across the world because information war has become very critical to winning the perception battle as well. And China is already working very hard at it. I don't know to what degree they're successful, but they do have a very robust propaganda machinery. So right now the talk is also about Putin's aggression in Ukraine emboldening China to invade Taiwan, and already China is working on a media warfare strategy, and you've written about this. So could you summarize this to our viewers who may not have read your article?
Thank you. Sure. So China's, the question is, it's worth going back to the basic. What does China want? And when I say China, what do I mean by China? So basically, I mean the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. So what does the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party want? First of all, they want the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party to stay intact. So that's, kind of self-preservation, obviously. But then second to that is they want China to be number one in the world in terms of what's called comprehensive national power. That's a term that is in the Chinese think tanks. It's an overt metric by which they rank countries. So there's a whole range of factors that go in. Chinese strategist will calculate a country's comprehensive national power. So it's all the things that you'd usually expect, like military power, economic power, that sort of thing. But it'll also include access to natural resources, whether it's in your country or in another country, but you have control over it. It'll be communications technology, intellectual property, whether it's your own or whether you've managed to steal it. So there are all these multiple factors that go into creating this empirical analysis of comprehensive national power. In order to achieve comprehensive national power, China has a doctrine that was kind of very explicitly put forward in a book in the late 90s by two PLA Air Force colonels called unrestricted warfare. And the basic premise of unrestricted warfare is China can do whatever it wants. Anything that works is legitimate. And an aspect of that unrestricted warfare, is what they also call the three warfares. And this is all overt. This is all over the Chinese strategic literature. The three warfares are psychological warfare. So that would be like continuously flying the air sorties over Taiwan to wear them down, to make them feel like defeat is inevitable. The second is lawfare. So they use countries' own court systems to try to tie up the competition. So India, for example, managed to ban WeChat. When the US tried to ban WeChat, this grassroots organization of WeChat users sprang up to say that this was a restriction of their First Amendment rights, and they used the courts to tie up that banning, and WeChat is still available in the US. The third is media warfare or propaganda, whatever, that kind of that medium or communications. Sorry, that sound is my puppy dog digging into the carpet for the night. So
I hope we get to see him.
I can show you after he's settled. Otherwise, you'll mostly get to see him going.
So we're discussing Chinese propaganda.
So the media warfare is a very large focus, and it's not just traditional media, but it's also social media. So the PLA has several 100,000 people dedicated to manipulating and shaping the social media environment. And they're also very good at using AI for what's called mass customized manipulation. So they will get all of your metadata, especially if you have TikTok and WeChat and all that sort of stuff that India has very cleverly banned. and it will do a profile of you, and then it will start to do whatever it's intended to do. And in many cases, what it's intended to do largely is to create social division. So it actually doesn't care whether you're pro-vax or anti-vax, for example, in the US. It just wants to drive you further apart and harden your position so that you fight each other. Right? So this Chinese media warfare, which includes social media, is very highly resourced. One of the best experts on this is Professor Carrie Gershanek, who's written a very good book called Political Warfare, who estimates that there are billions that are spent on this per year, and it's incredibly effective. So in the case of something like India, for example, when there was that attack on the iPhone parts manufacturing plant in Bengaluru, India is an existential threat to China for many reasons, but one of them is because it has the capacity to take a lot of the supply chain away from China, because India is a young, well-educated, largely English-speaking population that integrates well into the larger economy, into the global economy. And it has a better and more transparent rule of law than China. So China has to feed the impression that India is not a good place for investment. So in the case of the iPhone parts manufacturing plant attack, what you saw was images of the destruction in the factory were distributed online extremely quickly and very widely. Similarly with the farmers' protests, whatever the issues involved with the farmers' protests, the amplification of this being a node of instability would have been facilitated through Chinese propaganda networks in order to make India look like an unstable location, especially because of supply chain relocation. So the effects on the West are very socially destructive, but the effects in India are very socially destructive and economically destructive as well. And it's being used to target Taiwan in a everywhere that's a threat to China is being targeted by this sort of thing.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.